Hi once again to all our friends, our stakeholders, the faculty, staff, students, the alumni, and the general community who has been watching us all these years still on iGreyhound. We are being streamed live on the Facebook page of Foundation University, and we are also being telecast on Channel 6 of Filproducts TV-Dumaguete. And for tonight's episode, friends, here at Foundation University, the opening of any academic year, for that matter, is steeped with a lot of expectations, with a lot of hopes as well as aspirations, not only among the members of the faculty and staff, the students, but even more so as well with the administration officials. After all, this is something that we all have been working together in an academic institution. This is also something that we aim for, which is quality education. And now that we have just started or are starting the new academic year, we also look forward to the fact that by next year, Foundation University is going to celebrate her Diamond Jubilee or her 75th year. So for tonight's episode, friends, we chanced upon our university president, Architect Victor Vicente, Dean Sinco, as well as the University Chancellor in the person of Dr. Charlotte V. Cariño, in a conversation about where Foundation University is now and what we can expect out of her in the next 5 years. As Sir Dean Sinco also talks about the infrastructure as well as the other physical improvements on campus. Let's watch and appreciate this particular episode with our University President, Sir Dean Sinco, and the University Chancellor, Dr. Cariño.
As mentioned by our President, the future looks bright. Indeed it is. We have been through a pandemic and we're here. It's not just we are surviving, but we are thriving. In fact, if you take a look at it in a global scale, the market's doing well despite of all the challenges. So on our part as an educational system, as part of the educational system, the future looks bright. If you take a look at the population, we have increased significantly from our previous year. And the kind of students that we have, the profile, you could also take a look at it as in a brighter side, that our students are actually doing well, not just on their studies, but as a person, as individuals. They interact well with others, and we could see that they really have their own interest, their passion is really there. So when you ask them about why are they here in Foundation University, why they continue with their college education, they have understood why they're here. They understood their purpose of being here. So it's bright because as the education also evolved, Foundation University also has evolved. So we have a lot of programs, a number of programs who are actually embracing innovation. So that's actually what you need now, since we are also into the 5th Industrial Revolution, and that speaks about innovation. So at FU, we encourage that one, the culture of collaboration. So we discuss about relationship between disciplines. So it should be multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, so that we could actually marry our different interests and come up with better progress, better solutions to certain problems, and better way of decision.
I had a friend that he was a mason, and the way he would keep his guys on their toes is after he would leave the site for instructions, he would park his car and he would peek around the corner to see what they were doing, and if they weren't performing appropriately, he would go back and reset it. So basically he's creating a competitive environment so that you work at your highest potential. Yeah, I'm going to say this tomorrow. In addition to everything else,
Yes, sir.
This is new. What I'll say is the students are here because they have, hopefully they have recognized their purpose, okay? And because of that in turn gives us the opportunity to function so we can serve their purpose. So that is why competition is very healthy, because if you're not pushing yourself, you're not serving yourself very well. So that's why I think competition is very good. A lot of people hate competition because most of the time it means extra work, extra stress, emotion, all that. But in the end, if you survive all these challenges, you do come out with a better solution.
Yeah, competition is really good as long as it's healthy. It really
Fair.
brings out the best. Yeah, it brings out the best in you, in a person, wherein you really have to take a look at yourself. How can you be better? And you can also take a look at somebody else or the other individuals around you. You can take a look at the resources around you, and you make things better. It's not just competing because you really want to succeed alone, but it's actually competing in such a way that the thrust for excellence, like giving the best out of you and for others, is actually there. So and at the end of the day, our nation, our country, and the world will actually benefit from competition.
When I first came here in 1999, we were a severe underdog. And as an underdog, you don't like that place. You really don't like it. And it's frustrating because, well, when I first got here, I didn't understand why. And so it took several years to understand why we were in that position. But at the same time, you're still competing, right? And in the beginning, it was emotional competition. And then eventually it became some logic behind it. We began to understand what we needed to do to be successful.
Yeah, standards are very important. In fact, we ensure that our quality assurance system is in place. Currently, we are pushing for our quality management system to be in place, not just in academics, but in all of our system that's going on in the campus. So, again, as mentioned, standards are very important. So we are doing all our part in terms of making sure that the best is being done in every possible way. So I think you know already that one of our core values of Foundation University is excellence. So our students, from the core of our students to instruction to our system as a whole here for the support, that's the thing that we really have to embrace. So and we are currently doing everything for it to make sure that this
to also
happens.
interject that about when people hear things, words like excellence and anything that has to do with self-measurement, the big mistake for a lot of people is immediately thinking you're the best or you're trying to go for the best. And quite frankly, that's not our emphasis. You know, one thing I know about being the best is it's like king of the hill. Once you reach the top, there's always someone that's trying to knock you down. And the thing is, we don't want to be in that situation where we're always being knocked down. But what we want to be in is a situation where productivity is very high. You can say excellent, but just very high, very appreciated, very good. But we're never going to say we're the best. Okay, if somebody does, you can let me know. I'll slap them down. When you hear that in sports or anywhere in the world, it's immediately, I've reached the mountaintop, which is not true at all. Yeah.
You're always like vying to give your best, to be the best. However, the world also evolves, so it changes. You put it in your mind that you have given everything in order for you to produce something. So I think that's the value, no?
You're the king of the hill. Someone will try to knock you down. That's just human nature, because first of all, when you do announce that you're king of the hill, you're basically making everybody else look bad, and people don't want to feel that way.
Especially now that you really have to work in a team, like collaboration is always the key when you want to produce the best. So it's not just about you, but also the people around you. So I don't think that you will survive if you will do it like alone. So especially now that there are so many challenges around you, resources are limited. So you are giving your best, if you also give like get the best, you know, for these people to also exudes whatever they can really produce as the best effort.
It is very important, but to date we haven't taken advantage of that relationship as much as we should. You know, I know not just us, but any institution loves to hear from its alumni about how they are excelling and succeeding in their chosen profession, and that's something we need to do more work on, because that's our, how do you call that? That's our, not vindication. What's the other word? But that's our thrust, is because educational institutions cannot measure themselves per graduation class. They have to measure themselves in terms of decades after the students leave, and the measure of how valid your program is several years later. You have to see what our people are doing in the world.
Yeah. So alumni actually is very important. It validates our existence, actually, the purpose of also us as an academic institution. So that's a work in progress nowadays. We've been connecting with our alumni. Even here inside, we have done, made some restructuring in our alumni office. There is somebody who's actually in charge for alumni relations, and another for the alumni office itself and its functions. But now we are doing a number of things to ensure that we can connect our alumni, create that relationship, and communicate with them, and ask them to really visit our institution again, their alma mater.
There's no institution out there that's perfect, and so the alumni, it's an opportunity to ask them, what can we do better? Yeah. And a lot of institutions don't do that. They just continue what they think is good. But as Charlotte said earlier, the world is evolving, so we don't know everything. We know a few things, but not everything. And so when we ask from the people that have been out there, what else can we do better? It's extremely valuable. What you've been teaching works. That's very inspirational.
Yes, that's what I also like to say, that me as a teacher, for example, actually it's very inspiring to see that our alumni actually, or our graduates, had contributed well to the world, no? So because we've seen that it's not just they're not here in the Philippines, but also outside of the country, and our thrust really is to produce not just a Filipino citizen, but a global citizen. So they can actually adapt well around wherever they are.
Came out of COVID, because COVID was very difficult in the traditional sense of teaching. So many of the instructors were challenged in coming up with a different methodology. And we also brought in people that would assist us with that area. Presently, there's just a lot of confidence with our teaching staff. They've had a chance to experiment on what works and what doesn't work. And when you do things remotely, it's within seconds, it's a failure or a success. And so I think, moving into this academic year, that's really helped us. And actually, even to the point that I believe, because of the confidence of the instructors, what they exude, I think that really helped us with enrollment. Because that's another thing too, is, if you don't profess your expertise, who's going to believe you? Additionally, enrollment, at least for me, the frustration about funding has been alleviated. Not gone, but just alleviated, because year after year, we have all these priorities, all these projects, and it's always a frustration to prioritize each one. And we still have to do that. But things are moving along much faster. And so, in addition to services, we can also provide better facilities for the students. We were just talking earlier in the admin meeting, and I forgot to mention this, that when we had 6,000 students, we had just classrooms, and the only labs we had were science labs. Now we have labs in every department, and the labs are very helpful, but without the funding, there can be no lab. Yeah. So I'm very happy about that, and we are moving into that area where more labs. Not just more labs, but also more relationships with industrial partners, because they are the ones that can expose us to many things. Yeah.
That's really exciting. Actually, myself, I'm very excited to develop this kind of environment now that we are really moving towards internationalization. The partnerships will not only just be locally, but also there's mobility between our students and faculty, and faculty members of another university to us, because when there's internationalization or there's mobility, there's also progress in learning. So their perspective, our perspective, this diverse kind of environment really would help our students. So because at the end of the day, all of this, we're doing this for them. So when we push our efforts in internationalization, we're allowing them to explore the bigger world, the outside of the country, where they will learn cultures, they will learn skills that will make them ready again to be global citizens. So, yeah.
Explore outwardly goals also.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier about nursing, what it's doing to the health industry here in the Philippines, and I look at this philosophically because I'm a science fiction kind of guy, and I'm watching this program called Foundation by Isaac Asimov. And basically the premise is for eons, humans have migrated to other planets outside of Earth, right? And that's a very interesting concept, because when you do that, your culture changes. Whatever change, I mean, when mankind traveled the world here, it all started in Africa, but the African culture is nowhere near Asian cultures or any of the other cultures in the world. But that's because of migration, because of learning. Okay, and the way I look at it, my professor from a long time ago was talking about, we're always, as architects, we're designing for the planet. And he said, in the future, you may be designing for outer space. I still haven't gotten to that point, but but I'm thinking, well, you look at the news today, you've got India, China, US, and there's one more that are landing on the moon. Okay? Oh yeah, SpaceX and all these guys that are, and all of this is with the eventual goal of leaving this planet for other areas, right? And I truly believe you can't be the same if you go somewhere else. You have to adapt. Things change, things are different. And for me, everyone's concerned about the brain drain when it comes to health services. But for me, it's like, not necessarily. It could be another opportunity for us to progress.
That's true.
Yeah. If it's a threat, then you'll end up being protectionist. And that's the worst thing you can do, because it just doesn't take you anywhere. Yeah.
So it's actually push those people will be left behind, no? Like for example, people are going out, but this is also an opportunity for others to develop new skills, develop new things that would actually create another job, create another business.
Yeah.
So this actually will push everybody else to survive here. So
2 months ago, I was asked at the press con about AI, the threat of AI. And for me, it's not as simplistic as this, but let's say a doctor spends years educating themselves before they can practice. And a lot of this has to do with just absorbing data, right? But if we can develop an AI or an entity that can consolidate all this data and actually use it, then us as humans, we can go into other areas. Because in order to absorb that much information, it's taxing. I mean, it takes 8-10 years to become a doctor, right? What if through AI, it's months, right? Then people's health will improve, because then health issues can be addressed almost immediately.
yeah. So basically, before Sir did mention about science fiction, all of this that are happening now are actually just part of science fiction before. But it's here now, so just like we also have to dream.
And for those of you that don't know, science fiction authors are very religious. very religious.
They are also like taking a look at
Yeah.
beyond the box, so that's why they have the science fiction as well.
To me, it's really fascinating because you're hypothesizing what if in a situation doesn't exist. So you're visualizing, the what ifs and what are the possible solutions. So for me, I really am not threatened by anything new because there's always a what if. When you take that.
Yeah, that's what we want our students to develop. Like they have that kind of the thinking that they will challenge the status quo. They want something more. They would ask why, what if, this kind of things that will actually push them to create more, to be more imaginative, to think beyond what is what is there.
So like critical thinking.
That's definitely what the country needs because right now we're the degrees that are being emphasized is like nursing, business, accounting, law. But we need more science. We need people that can, not so much push the Philippines into the limelight, but the entire world. We can help. Yeah.
So that's why we are big as well in developing our innovation ecosystem here. It's actually very helpful to our students wherein they could learn from each other from different disciplines, and we have that kind of environment that supports them in terms of their ideas.
We have a collaborative environment.
Yeah, the collaborative environment. That's something unique with Foundation University. It's not like you're thinking about your discipline, yourself, and your idea, but you think of what about the others? How can they help make this idea better?
That's the other thing too about science fiction, especially for those of you that have not seen Foundation. A group of people were exiled to a desert planet. Okay, and they were able to convert that into society. And actually, in this particular series, space travel is they use jump ships, right? And jump ships are only available to the Empire. Right? That technology belonged to them. And this society, which was banned to this planet, developed their own jump ship without the technology, without the resources of this particular empire. And that's what I mean by opportunities. Just because you've been stripped, of what you're accustomed to, does not mean the opportunities still exist. Yeah, they do. You just have to look at it differently. Yeah.
It's actually like a result of the culture of care and community of Foundation University, wherein we marry technology, environment, and entrepreneurship. So regardless of discipline, each student, each foundation is required to take this subject because you can embrace the utilization of technology for good, to take care of your environment, and also for you to become, if you would see a problem, you transform that one into an enterprising, let's say, business endeavor. So that's entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
So you marry all of this, and you can come up with a very good, let's say, student who actually embrace community care as well.
I have another science fiction diversion. Any of those that watch Star Trek, right? They're familiar with the what do they call it? That makes your food. It's a synthesizer that creates your food because they don't carry food with them, right? And so I just found out in the latest series that the food is actually recycled waste. So it comes from human waste and it's regenerated into food. Yeah.
There's a lot of technology now that's actually going into that food production using tech. I remember I attended a webinar that mentioned about like Israel, coming up with let's say a burger that actually coming from a 3D printer. So there's a technology that develops this the ingredients of food and coming up with something like a real food at the end of the line. No, so there are so much technology now.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not anymore about like human wastes or.
Or even as simple as water. There's always articles every day about how certain parts of the world are running out of water. But the truth of the matter is, I don't know how you'll run out of water because the water on this planet is finite. It doesn't run out, it doesn't get added, it's always there. So, there's that opportunity if that's your thing, is to look into reproducing water so that it never goes away.
Yeah. For our audience, of course, Foundation University is always here. And we thank you for the trust that you have given us, that we continue to deliver what the purpose of of our educational system is. We are here to be with the journey on the education of your children. And that's it, no? So we are here to ensure that the quality of education that everyone could get will be given. At the same time, you will enjoy the experience with all of the innovative programs that we have here. So looking forward for a very good academic year with all of this mobility in and out of the campus and all of the new programs that are being offered. So looking forward for everyone to pitch in and become make this diversity more meaningful for everyone.
I think for me, I'm always thinking about this, about how all of this started. This idea of Foundation College at the time and now Foundation University, and basically it's because my grandfather went to Silliman Institute, and he came from a haciendero upbringing, and without really using these words specifically, he was wondering why, even back then, why does the Philippines have a caste system? Okay, why is it only for a few privileged to excel, to learn and excel? And so, we're here approaching our 75th, and I can only see that we continue to expand that thought that a caste system does not belong in society. What belongs in society is people that care. That's it, and that's all that we want to generate is people that care.
Welcome to Foundation University, the home of the Greyhounds. Programs offered. Become who you want to be with our state-of-the-art facilities. Conducive for learning. An eco-friendly environment. With friendly, reliable, and committed. Staff and faculty. Are you ready for an experience? Join us. Make a difference. Be a foundational.
It's come to my mind because a lot of my friends and relatives I'm at an age where people think about or have retired or are thinking about retirement. And some people ask me, why haven't I retired yet? And so the simple answer for me is, I'm enjoying my work, so why do I need to retire? If I do, then what am I going to do if I retire? And that kind of led me to, since we just had academic opening, that kind of led me to thinking about, the kids coming into school, not just in the Philippines, but mostly in most parts, well, almost all the world, is people go to work and eventually retire. And many people put so much emphasis on retirement that majority of retirees are basically bored to death when they stop working, and actually many die early because of that. They're just bored to death. They lose their direction in life. And not to say that working in an office the rest of your life is really the path. It isn't. But I believe that our students should really think about where are they going to be. I mean, this is really long term, 30 to 40 years from now. Here at Foundation, we're changing our policy. We still have benefits after you reach the age of quote-unquote retirement, but we're not requiring people to retire. If they want to stay, they can. I believe because the institution has invested so much time and money in these people that when they're reaching their peak, you ask them, time for you to go. And then we basically start all over again with, a replacement person. And for me, that doesn't make any sense because the world is fraught with continuity problems. And part of it has to do with this retirement concept that you reach a certain age, it's time for you to go and just off the pasture and, go fishing or whatever. And I know people that go fishing or whatever, and they're desperate to have people go with them because they're bored to death. So anyway, going back to the student issue is, I know in the Philippines especially, parents have a lot to do with choosing the kids' chosen profession. But I think that children really should have some thoughts on what they really want to do. I mean, for me, it may be too simple, too black and white about this, but if you're going to just think about retirement, no need to go to school. Yeah, just go work somewhere until you reach that retirement qualification, then you retire. And then in the Philippines, after 3 months, you go work again. Isn't that great? And so the sense of purpose has really come to the forefront of my mind because this is what we do here. We produce these people that supposedly contribute to society. And I think it's really not right for society to tell them by the age of 60, 65, we don't need you anymore. Okay? And some kids should really think about their professions, because some of their professions, that is kind of built in, that we don't need you anymore. especially if you work for government, you know, they get to a point where they don't need you anymore. But there are professions like architecture. Most architects keep working until they drop, such as in my case. I will do that. Scientists also will do that. Teachers can do that. Nurses too, to a certain extent, can do that. There are a lot of professions where you don't have to retire. You can just keep going as long as you're physically able, physically and mentally able. Well, that's all we do here, is we're supposed to give people a direction. What do you want to do when you grow up? Well, the U.S. hasn't gone through this in a very, very long time, because actually higher education in the U.S. is waning in the U.S. because everybody's just looking for specific areas of learning for their own profession. But here in the Philippines, everyone's still thinking about how a college degree can get you a job, and not necessarily better pay, but at least paid, right? And we want to take it beyond that, because, you know, I see it all the time. It really frustrates me on TV. I watch Discovery and Animal and National Geographic. What else do I watch? History. And these are all the same channels in the US as they're here. But here, there must be ADHD here or something, because they're always flipping around with these little snippets from different programs. I'm like, why are they doing this? And it leads me to believe that the Philippines have gotten to a point that it's just about entertainment. And perhaps education for some, it's not necessarily entertainment, but it's a short-term solution, you know. And it bothers me that education is a short-term solution, or is treated as a short-term solution, because as a practicing professional, I know that I'm never going to stop learning. Even to the day that I stop working, I'm still learning up to that moment. And so why the country has gone to the point that, you know, the focus, sense of focus is just so short and so shallow, you know, that even on TV they're doing it now. I mean, it confuses me, because I'm watching a program, it's like, hey, who changed the channel? You know, and it's like, why is this happening here? It doesn't happen that much in the US. I mean, they do it because they want to feature their programs, but not as often as here. My goodness, in about 5 minutes, I see 3 different programs sometimes. Like, which one was I watching? Yeah. I mean, it's like a video game, right? And so going back to the sense of purpose is, you know, to get the kids to really focus on what they want to do. Don't just focus on the degree, because the degree, you know, when I was in school, I was concerned about too, being typically Filipino even in school. I was concerned about salary and position, blah, 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 all that kind of nonsense. I'm still in school. So my professor told me, don't worry about it. You just do well and everything will fall into place. And so it's kind of that in this sense of purpose, is that just find what you like to do well, and everything else will fall into place. Retirement, okay, fine. Don't spend all your money while you're working, you know. Put it away somewhere, invest it, save it, whatever you need to do. But truth of the matter is, there's really no need to retire. There's no need at all. As a matter of fact, statistically in the US, when you retire, it costs you more to live when you're retired than it does when you're working. So why would you do that to yourself? No more income, and then it costs you more, and then you're doing nothing? Why would you do that to yourself? So that's basically, those are my thoughts on sense of purpose these days. I think it's important for people to understand that what you're doing here. You only have 4 years to determine what you're doing here for that's the rest of your life, right? Well, this is where we're also changing on the teaching level. Is, you know, the teachers here have such passion for teaching, and I think our teachers are now being able to convey to the students what is it about teaching that they love so much. And I think the students really need to start to realize that the only reason teachers are there is because of them. Okay, they're not there because we pay them. They're there because they want to see the future of the country succeed, right? And I think if the kids understood that, I mean, there's some teachers that can be a real pain. I mean, you and I had one, and when I was in school, I just really was struggling through their class. And today, I really appreciate why they were like that. And my teachers weren't necessarily a pain because of grades. They were a pain because when you're here, your mind is supposed to open, and that's what they're doing. Is like, you know, knocking on that coconut, and maybe it cracks, and then something goes inside, right? That's what they're doing. And I think that's what some of the students should realize. You know, the typical student-teacher relationship is about, well, you teach, I perform, and I hope I satisfy you. And that's really wrong. That's elementary. After elementary, all of that should be gone. You should really realize what your teachers are doing for you. I guess I'll just relate it to my own life, that when you're growing up, you just do things that excite you. There are certain things that excite you. Again, going back to my favorite program, Discovery. Was it Discovery or National Geographic? I can't remember because this stupid Philippines flashes around so much. We're talking about Henry Ford and tractors. I didn't know Henry Ford designed a tractor. And the only reason why he designed a tractor is he hated farming. He really hated it, and they're basically from an agricultural family. And his father would always look for him, and he would be hiding in the hay in the barn. And as soon as his dad went away, he would take out a watch that his dad gave him, and he would take it apart every day and put it back together. He just loved how things came together. And so for me, when I was growing up, I didn't get a chance to practice architecture, but I just loved the way how things work themselves together when it comes to the built environment. And so, you know, in addressing you, Mr. and Mrs. Student, or Mr., Ms., Mrs. Student, that's really something you should look at, is what do you really enjoy? I mean, even not a few years ago, we didn't have culinary arts, and I know many parents in Philippines were like, why do you want to be a cook the rest of your life? And with that, I mean, I know we've had kids coming in and out of the program, and with that, I know people just love, that's their passion. So really, you know, look at your passion, and if you think you can do the same thing over and over again for 20, 30, 40 years, maybe even 50, depending on how long you live, do it. I was really quite relieved that we finally had it after almost, well, 3 years basically. And I was really very, very pleased that most of the students really looked forward to it. And I started to see the quality and the wishes changing. Instead of, there's still a few that are, I guess, humorous, but many are quite serious about their wishes, how they would see or how they project themselves. I mean, this just leads up to this thing about sense of purpose, because with that event, you write down, albeit short term, you know, your sense of purpose for that year. You know, what do you intend? And I find that very, very good. People keep asking me about this because it's not Christian at all. It's very Eastern, and I believe in Eastern philosophies because they're very spiritual, you know. And what I like is I get to see the kids starting to take the time to think about what they like their future to be like. I mean, the most obvious thing is better grades and all that, but you know, there are deeper sentiments that you see written on these floats. In the first half an hour, people hung around and really observed the lanterns floating away. But unfortunately, because of our setup, it took kind of long, so some of the lanterns went out. And of course, the Philippine clock came in, and I'm hungry, let's go. I was beginning to sense there's a different level of appreciation for the event. And I was really happy about that because, you know, we all need a moment in our life where we can just reminisce and really think deeply about where we're going. Yeah. Favorite part? I don't know. I guess when the lights came on, it was ready to go, and you could see the masses that were there. I mean, we occupied that entire open area, and the only time in the past that I've actually seen that is here when we get together over here, and it doesn't seem as big. When we went out there, wow, there was a lot of people. And the nice thing too is there were a lot of people that weren't part of the school that were there also to enjoy it. That's the thing that I really noticed this go around. I didn't. I just had. I'm the chief deviator. I made a form, kind of like a sail, and what's the name? Fibonacci is the guy that developed the spiral, right? So I kind of did a Fibonacci kind of thing with 2 spirals. Actually, I've been doing Fibonacci for a long time. I do these spirals, and I decided to, instead of drawing it, make a form. It's kind of like ripples, where you drop in the water and just kind of grows. But with Fibonacci, it's logarithmic, where instead of just being equal, Fibonacci just kind of, it grows quickly into infinity. Coming up, there's several events. I mean, architecture has the sand sculpture this weekend, and they have the pumpkin, and then they have the truss esquisse towards the end of the year. We have the culmination of the anniversary in December. I'm really looking forward to those, and we're changing the format a little bit where I'd like to be more sustainable. So stop using styrofoam for the props and start finding things that are more organic. What else? That's about it. Actually, what I'm looking forward to is because Ched has eased up on the COVID restrictions, I'm looking forward to 100% face-to-face by December. Yeah, so I mean, we can do it now, but we're not ready because we have to repair the facilities over 3 years of non-maintenance. But I'm actually really looking forward to that because, you know, the one thing I noticed is first enrollment was tremendous. I mean, our enrollment was higher than pre-COVID by about 15%. And then second, just the kids coming to the campus. I mean, it's like a long lost relatives. And where you been all my life, you know? And of course, someone was a real killjoy. The only reason they're there is because of free internet. Like, yeah, thanks. But it's nice because, I mean, you can see the kids walking around, they're taking pictures, and they're really beginning to appreciate what we offer as far as the campus and facilities and infrastructure and all that. I mean, in the past, many people would just say it's just decoration, but I think a lot of people are beginning to realize that what we're doing is introducing a glimpse of a potential lifestyle that they could have as they grow up. I mean, that was one of the things I noticed when I first got here is I don't go to fiestas anymore, but I go to fiestas. I did in the first half year, and I've been introduced to all these alumni from Foundation, brought into their houses and things, and not to speak badly about them, but I felt bad for them because they had the diplomas on the wall. They're so proud of, husband and wife, and then children going to Foundation. Then I find out that the husband and wife basically don't work. Okay. And for me, that was tragic because why did you go here when you go back to your community, which is okay, is good, but then when you get there, you don't work. So for me, it's like I'm beginning to see a change in how kids are appreciating what they're doing here, what is really their purpose here. And if they want to go back and help their community, that's great. If they want to go off into the world and discover themselves and then eventually come back and help the community, that's fine also, as long as whatever they've learned here, it's used in their life. Well, the theme is based around the theme of the year, and this year is Incredibly Me. Extraordinary Me. I keep thinking about incredible. I don't know why. Extraordinary Me. So it's based around that. Every department will have that theme, around that theme. What I'm expecting is, as far as extraordinary, is basically the community's appreciation of what we've done. I'd like to see something, some form, emotion, money, anything for someone to say, well, you guys are not the same as you used to be, huh? You guys are different, and taking it to the point that, you know, there's this person that's an alumni, and I didn't know that, and now I found out, and like I come here, and I can see why. Something as simple as that. That started in the second year of the school. It used to be you had your exams before Christmas break. It also used to be the transportation was like once or twice a week, and most of the kids were from outside of the city. So after they took the exam, they would just be sitting around waiting to go home, and they needed something to do, so they wanted to celebrate in a way. And they all knew about UP's Lantern Parade. So this was, my dad came up with this idea, let's just, because this school is fashioned after UP, let's do this Lantern Parade. So it started as that downtown. I don't know how far they went, maybe just 2 blocks, because quite frankly, back then I think we only had 200 students. So that's how it started, is a way for the students to celebrate well, it used to be the end of the semester, now it's the end of the it's the end of the semester now, because it'll change in calendar. So it's the end of the semester, the kick off the festivities for the holidays. So basically, and then of course to culminate our birthday. Our birthday has always been over several months, not just one time. Yeah. We try to keep it as simple as possible every year, and the students do a wonderful job of, they're so creative. But I see some departments that just spend way too much money, and it's like, just take it easy, because we all know about the economic status of most of our students, and they all have to go home, and it's Christmas, and there's lots of celebrations, sometimes there's gifts, and save it for that. Our celebration here is important, but don't blow it. Yeah. There's always our little surprise at the end of the year. There's always that. But I think, as far as education, I said this a couple of days ago, that the beginning of the COVID was very, very bad, not just for us, but for everybody. And I think that's why I came up with Extraordinary Me, because the recovery was quite extraordinary, at least what we did internally. In the first semester, there were a lot of complaints about, what's this Zoom business, right? And so we hired people to help us go beyond, although Zoom was still part and parcel of the education, just go beyond, classroom on a TV. And so we did. And not only that, but we also understood the power of digital delivery. And so I believe that that's what's going to continue to be extraordinary, is our teachers have discovered they have so much power on their fingertips as far as information and learning, that I think in this, not just this year, but in the coming years, you'll see a huge difference. Some of our deans already are looking at being centers of excellence by next year. That's quite aggressive, but it's a good attitude. So I think, as far as extraordinary, I think those are the things to be expected. And not just that, but also, I've always said that the centers of education here, the institutions of education, are the infrastructure for the city. Because if you don't have the 4 universities here, this is just going to be another city that has banking, government offices, and hardware stores. That's it. And with the universities, we are the centers of knowledge. We are the infrastructure for the rest of the province. And I really see that as, at least in our case, being very effective in that area.
Thank you very much once again, friends, for being with us. We hope you have gleaned insights as well as the excitement and also the expectations that we have all been looking at, especially that we have just started the school year and we move forward to our Diamond Jubilee. I'm pretty certain that our alumni and even our faculty, staff, students, and our parents as well have empathized as to the developments and also the things that we have been working out for at the Foundation University, especially among the faculty and staff. So please do not forget, our replays are on Fridays and Saturdays from 2 o'clock in the afternoon to 3 in the afternoon on Channel 6 of Filproducts TV-Dumaguete. And we are also being streamed live on the Facebook page of Foundation University. Thank you very much once again to Ms. Nicole Kalumpang, my stylist, for making me look chic as always on the show. This has been Cecile Henove bidding everyone a pleasant evening.
Grit, determination, resilience. These traits are what made Foundation University overcome the obstacles of the pandemic for more than 2 years. With the future being uncertain, it was difficult to make plans. Life, or whatever was left of it, in the minds of Foundationites was at a standstill. This year, just in time for the new academic year, Foundation University shows to the world that she can weather any storm. With full face-to-face classes back, the campus brims with life as teachers and learners make up for time spent online. The challenges in the past have tested how far Foundation University can go. From where we are, there is nowhere we can go but up. As we rise and stand united, we face the coming year with optimism and hope as Foundation University proudly soars on her 74th year. Just as the Greyhound is capable of leaping to greater heights, so does Foundation University. FU at 74 proudly soar.